Welcome back on the Pacific Digital Network. Welcome back to the Coaches Show. It's been a long time. Zack Bayrouty, joined by Pacific Associate Head Coach Leonard Perry for men's basketball, of course, as we're getting down to it now. It's just over a month until the opener at Stanford. So, are you ready? You ready?
Ready or not, it's here. It's just kind of one of those deals. You think about it so much in the off season. You talk about it. We have some new additions to the program, and it's here now.
What are your initial impressions? I know officially practice has gotten underway this week, and I know you're painting with broad strokes when you talk about initial impressions because we've not seen this team in a game setting yet. But your impressions of these guys as a whole?
After 48 hours, we've had 2 days of practice, so. I just feel like this group it's a skilled group. We're better in a lot of different ways than we were last year. I feel like our kids are so much more confident on the floor in what they can do individually. Now it's our jobs as coaches to bring that together, but collectively, the new guys that we brought in and the guys that are returning, they've had good summers, and I think we feel good as a staff that we've upgraded from where we were.
You've obviously been doing this for a long, long time. When you have a new group of players, relatively speaking, everybody's new except with Anthony and Jack and with Max. But when you have a new collection of players like this, what's the key to establishing the culture that you want to establish with this group?
Well, the key, Zach, is consistency. Whatever your message is, you better be prepared to do that every single day. There are cornerstones of your program that you believe that create culture. Maybe it's playing hard, maybe it's rebounding the basketball, maybe it's defense, maybe it's playing efficiently offensively. Whatever your cornerstones are, that's what you have to preach every day. And ours will be, ball security, taking care of the basketball, getting back in transition, defending and rebounding the basketball, and playing with a lot of confidence offensively. I think that's the way Coach wants our kids to play, and so far so good.
I feel like that's the artistry of coaching, right? I mean, everybody does the X's and O's, and there's a lot of copycat that goes on with X's and O's in coaching. But I think the real artistry comes in getting guys to buy into what you want them to buy into and play the way you want them to play. Would you agree?
I would, Zach. We put a premium on talent. You need talent. You can be. In my few short years in this business. In my few short years, I've seen a lot of great coaches that just didn't quite have enough talent. And I've seen a lot of coaches that, maybe did it a different kind of way and weren't so involved X-O-wise, but they had a ton of talent and they knew how to get out of their way. And I think that's really big in our business. Sometimes guys overthink it and they're doing too much, and sometimes guys kind of get out of the way and allow the talent to run its course. And for the most part, if you do just enough and kind of get out of the way, that'll take care of itself in terms of wins and losses.
I feel like part of being able to implement your culture and the way the coaches want things to go on out there on the floor is having a conduit and a player out there that can be the guy that is the floor general. Is there a guy like that on this team?
Absolutely. Kendall would be that guy, and he was also here with us last year sitting out. So as we were building this thing, Kendall was a big part of it, even though he had to sit out. But he was here every day. He understands what Coach Stoudemire wants and the way he wants to run it. He's really, really bright. He's articulate. That's our quarterback. There's no question about that. And he's been really, really good. His attitude's been amazing, since this summer. And I know Coach is really pleased with him. And I'm super happy we have him as our quarterback going into this year. And it makes us feel a lot more confident, in our program and where it's headed.
I think part of the intrigue with Kendall, and this is no disrespect to TJ Wallace, but the last couple of years with TJ, at times it was like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. I mean, he's not really a true point guard, but at times he was running the offense. What will we see in Kendall that's different from what we saw in TJ? And this is asking, knowing that Kendall's probably more of a true point guard than TJ right off the top.
Yeah, in fairness to TJ, who was outstanding for us, it wasn't his natural position at the point. He was more of a 2, and it was kind of a disservice to him to move him to the 1, but he admirably stepped up and filled that role for us and did a great job. Kendall was kind of born with a ball in his hand. It's kind of like, my reference to quarterbacking in football a lot, but he's had the ball in his hands from the time he started playing. So there's a lot of natural feel for him that when you try to convert a 2 to a 1, it takes him a nice chunk of time to adjust and see the things that true point guards just see. They just naturally see. And you can see the connection between Coach Stoudemire and Kendall. Coach Stoudemire can say things one time now, and Kendall can get all 5 spots. I got it.
So there's that simpatico there between him and Damon, which is, I think, important if you're going to be a point guard playing for Stoudemire, right?
No question about it. You better have those traits.
What will we see different from the offense? Will we see some new looks? I know you guys had some plays you brought in last year as a first-year staff, but is there going to be new plays incorporated with this group, the red shirts that are obviously have some time under their belt from last year and a new crop of players?
Well, I think the first thing you'll recognize is the ball going through the basket a lot more than it did. That's a start, and that's a good thing. So that's the first thing. Yeah, that's the first thing. I think this team will score more easily than we did last year. We really struggled to score. I think we're going to be able to put Jack back in his natural element, be able to space the floor more with penetration, with Kendall running our show, and Berto being able to penetrate, Jalil being able to penetrate, put the ball on the floor. We'll put Anthony in positions where he can 1 or 2 bounce, get to the rim, and create some plays. We've got guys that can spot up and make jump shots. So I think, Miles will give us a penetrator, a guy that can get the ball to the paint area, distribute it, or finish at the rim. And I think we'll be playing a lot faster. I think our defense will shift better, our rotations will be better, and we'll get our hands on more steals. I think Coach wants to extend the floor a little bit more. You may see some pressing to get some easy baskets. That's something that we did not get all of last year. Baskets didn't come easy for us. So I think our tempo will be faster. I think we'll play at a quicker rate. And we're still working on it, but hopefully we'll be a really good offensive rebounding team. And that'll give us second shots, which will allow our guys to play with a lot more confidence.
From my courtside seat, it was impressed upon me that when you rebound the ball with 2 hands. And you were instrumental in teaching me that throughout the course of last season. But that being said, do we have guys on this team that can rebound the ball with 2 hands, and will we have guys that will be a force in that department?
Well, on the year last year, Zach, we were +2 on the year in rebounding, so we out-rebounded our opponents most of the time. Rebounding with 2 hands is a habit. I come from a really old basketball tree in Hank Iba, and that's translated throughout time with Tim Floyd, Kermit Davis, Bob Boyd, Larry Eustace. I mean, that's what we believe, getting back in transition and rebounding the basketball with 2 hands. And as simple as that sounds, I think when championship teams cut down nets, they're usually really good at those 2 things. So hopefully, we're able to instill that in this year's team. I don't see sitting next to you allowing guys to just stab at it with 1 hand. I think you'll hear me screaming over there, grab it with 2 hands. In a very polite voice.
Very, very polite. Very polite. I was ready to go out there and rebound with 2 hands, my God. This might be way too early, and I'm sure it is. But do you guys have any leading candidates for a starting five? And I know starting five doesn't mean really anything, but I know there's some intrigue out there about what it might be and who could be in that starting five.
I think it varies from practice to practice. Obviously, starting with Kendall, and I can't speak for Coach Stoudemire. I'm sure Coach may have some rotations in his head. I just think it's going to change. But Kendall is definitely a starting point for us. That's a guy we can hang our hat on and say, he can run Coach Stoudemire's offense, get guys in positions and where they should be on the floor. He understands spacing. He's going to be hard to beat out, at the one. I know we can say that. Anthony Towns will be really, really tough to beat out because he has experience. And he's a proven scorer on the low post. So those two for sure. I think everywhere else, depending on how Coach Stoudemire feels, we'll have to fill in the blanks. Obviously, practice to practice, that changes. I'm sure Coach, can have a starting five in his mind on Monday, and then on Tuesday after practice, that can slightly change. But those two guys are cornerstones, along with Jack Williams in some capacity. But if I had to guess what Coach is thinking, I would think that Anthony and Kendall would be two really good starting points for us.
Coming to the end of our time, but before I let you go, give us maybe one or two traits that you see early on in this team that fans can look forward to seeing.
I think that in low clock situations with this team, I think we'll be more comfortable getting the ball where we need to get it, making the plays that we need to make as the clock is winding down. I don't think we'll be as frantic as we were last year at different times, and not having a natural feel for, okay, the clock's at 13, 12, 11, 10. Where are we going and what are we doing and where are we trying to get the basketball? I think we'll be a lot more comfortable.
A lot more composed in those situations, which are obviously huge situations. LP, it's always great to catch up. Thanks for stopping by. That's the Coaches Show. We'll see you next time on the Pacific Digital Network.